Hi, I'm Will, and I'm going to talking about PTSD here on the Geezer Guide to Better Living. I was in the military in the early 90s, and I went to the Gulf War. I got out of the military, and I knew something was wrong with me, but I didn't know exactly what it was. I knew that I got frustrated easily. I didn't like certain situations. I didn't like being around groups of people. I didn't like certain noises, and I was very introverted. And until the around 2001, when I was finally told what I was, PTSD was, uh, I realized that I had these symptoms that they were saying. I don't have the really bad symptoms that a lot of people have, the paranoia and some other things that people have. But I do have the situation where it's hard for me to go into groups of people that I don't know, into large crowds like concerts and stuff like that. I have to prepare myself ahead of time before I can go. And I'm not good at meeting new people because I don't know if your personality and my personality are gel, and uh, if I will not like you, and if I don't like you, you will know I don't like you, and that's not good, especially in a working environment. So that's why for most of my working career after the military, I have been self-employed. So when I found out that I had PTSD, when they finally diagnosed me, put it that way, that I had PTSD, I was going to other doctors. I was not going to the VA, and other doctors had given me bad medicine, uh, as such as Ambien, because I have problems sleeping, and I have headaches, and nobody have really addressed that. They just take aspirin and keep on moving. But I think it has to do with the gas chamber because I used to be in charge of the gas chamber. If you saw my black ass in the morning during roll call, you knew that two things were going to happen. Either you were going to the gas chamber or you were going to get a long, boring class on how to use biological and nuclear chemicals and how to prepare yourself against them. So people didn't want either one of them. So they saw me standing behind that platoon first thing in the morning. Grown men would cry because they didn't want to go to the gas chamber, and they didn't want to be stuck in a long class playing with equipment all day. So uh, that's where I think I got my headaches from because that stuff I believe it ate out any kind of tissue that I have on the inside of my nose because I think it's also connected with my sinuses because I get really bad migraines to the point where sometimes I feel like I want to throw up. I get dizzy. But other than that, I don't have any problems other than I'm quick to anger and sleeplessness. So the problem that I started going to the VA, and after they say you probably have PTSD, I don't have a problem going to the VA because the VA they will give you drugs, and I'm not a drug person. I will try to do it holistically. I will take herbs. I will do things like that. And as far as not being able to sleep, if you go to bed at a certain time, you wake up at a certain time, you train your body to fall asleep. That's okay. But say during the day, something pissed me off. I will dwell on that all freaking day to the point where at night I can't even go to sleep. So uh, that doesn't happen. So you have to end up taking a drug, and that's when the Ambien came in place. And I don't want to even get into the Ambien story. I think I have a video about that somewhere. But I started trying to go to the VA about 5 years ago. I started in my hometown of Jacksonville, and I didn't like Jacksonville because Jacksonville triggered me a lot. Being around family is great, but sometimes being around family is not a good thing. You have to take small doses of being around family. So I moved back to Atlanta, and I've been to the VA here, and they have given me drugs. They I took some of the drugs, and some of the drugs were okay, but I just can't see doing this for the rest of my life. And they say that some of them are not addictive, but I don't believe that. And some of them give you other side effects. So the last time I went because I was really having stress, and if stress was causing me a lot of anxiety. So I went there, and I think that as a black person, they want to put you in, they want to give you drugs, but they also want to get you into uh, social environments where you can talk out your feelings. And I don't want to hear nobody else's problems. I got my own problems, and I don't want to hear about your problems. I don't mind talking to someone one on one, but as far as a group, I'm not doing it. See, back in the day, also to help me with my PTSD, I drank a lot until I was a heavy drinker. And I don't drink that much like that anymore. I don't really drink hardly at all. I will, if someone have a birthday, if somebody going out, I will have a drink and I'll nurse it, but I won't back, slam back drinks like I used to in hard liquor. I barely, if ever, touch. I'll hold a beer till it loses all its fizzle. But I will not go to a group session. I will. They try to get me to group sessions for that, and I told them I don't have a problem with alcohol. I have a problem with sleeping mostly and anxiety, and sometimes it comes on. I can feel it coming on, and I usually can do something about it. And I try to be around people less. But sometimes, being having the job that I have to be around people. So in the job I left, I'm not in the hair industry anymore as like I used to be, and I think that I needed to get out of the hair industry because, like I say, people were starting to bother me. So, and you can't get more bothered than people that want to look like Holly Berry and they look like Buddy Holly, and that kind of gets on your nerves because you give them exactly what they want, but they see it on their own head differently than what it's actually going to look like. And you try to explain to them first, your head is bigger, your hair is thinner, or your hair is not that texture, and you have to explain that to people, even with men. So that's why I don't do hair as much. And I started another industry, and I basically by myself a lot, and that's which is good because when I finally do see people, I'm happy to see them. I'm like, oh, I can talk to somebody else and not myself. And as far as going in, because I travel a lot, I can't go to meetings and I can't talk to a steady person, So, and black people have a hard time going to talk out their problems to strangers. And I have people that I can talk to. I have a small circle of people that if I feel like I really need to stress to talk things out, I will go and talk to them. The VA is probably mad at me because they have set up appointments, and after appointments, and I haven't showed up either one because of my job. It's not because I don't want to; it's because of my job. And if you are suffering from PTSD, talk it out. You need to talk to someone. You don't need to be alone because I've been in the VA hospitals, and some of these people that I think that are a little worse off for me. I think that because of religion, I never thought about suicide. Religion, and I don't want to do that to anybody. To my family and friends, to commit suicide. But a lot of these people, they are suicidal, and they are depressed, and they have anxiety, and sometimes it's because you sit there, just like when I dwell on something. over and over. And it could be something small. I could take some of the smallest things. Somebody could say something to me, and I can blow it up internally to something that is way bigger than what it needs to be. So, uh, what I want this video to stress is to talk to somebody. You need to have family, friends, and someone who's not going to turn around and take what you have told them and use it against you. That's my biggest problem, is that, people take PTSD for fun. They say that you're shell shock and all these other vernaculars that people use for people who have been in a war zone, and they think that it's funny, and they will use it against you. And sometimes they'll just do it out of playing around and say, oh, he ain't right, he's shell shocked, you know, don't mess with him because he went to the Gulf War or something like that. And you need to talk to someone that is educated and is going to listen. Sometimes you don't want someone to tell you anything. You want someone to just listen. And if you can do that and get out of yourself, and I think that will help you a lot as far as relieving your anxiety and your stress. And it's definitely, if you're going to think about committing suicide, you need to go to the VA or to a help hotline. I have not gotten to that point where I felt like I wanted to harm myself. I have gotten to that point where I felt like I have wanted to harm other people, and that could be just as bad. So I have to really check myself on that sometimes, and sometimes I click, and that's another thing I don't like when people say, "Oh, he's just clicking." That I will let stuff build up and build up and build up and build up, and then that one day that I don't feel like it, you say the wrong thing, and I'm on you like a pit bull, and you caused it, but you want to turn around and say that it's because uh, I have PTSD, so I'm crazy. But I try to address problems as they occur, or I try to stay away from a person that I feel that triggers my PTSD. So, as I said before, I want this video to be about finding someone. If you can do a group, or you can find someone that you can talk to and talk it out, someone that's going to listen to you and not tell you. Because I had one person at the VA, she was trying to convert me to religion, and I was like, I'm not here for a sermon. I'm here because I need some medication, and I need someone to talk to, and maybe someone who can help me figure out things. But I don't need someone that's going to preach to me and tell me their life story. So that's what you need. Find someone to talk to, especially Black people. We have a hard time talking our stuff out, especially to psychiatrists. We believe mental health is not a big deal, but it is, and you need to find someone to talk it out. That's it for this video. If you like this video, please like my videos, share my videos, comment on my videos, and please subscribe. And if you get a chance, please check out my art website at billthebarber.pixels.com. And I thank you again.